As long as you see your head to the sky. We're in the midst of sorrow. You can't see how when you're looking down. A brighter day, tomorrow will bring. Be optimistic. You hear the voice of reason telling you this could never be done. No matter how reality seems, just hold on to your dreams. When things around you crumble, no, you don't have to stumble and fall. Keep pushing on and don't you look back. Be optimistic. I know. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita. My name is Shenita Connolly, and tonight's show will be on attending college for free. I'm excited to have a college boss here with me who is proven, has a proven track record of assisting students to attend college successfully, holistically, not just financially, but she has helped them to identify their goals, pre-planning their classes, the whole 9 yards. So Miss Tameka Williamson, I am excited to bring her in this evening to talk with you guys. And the best part about her is she's a Southern University graduate, a Jaguar. My brothers both graduated from Southern University, and I have a host of friends that attended Southern University and family members, so I'm so excited to have her. So without further delay, please allow me to bring in and introduce to you all Miss Tameka Williamson. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good, good. College prep boss.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited because, I love sharing resources, and people call me all the time for resources. And so I wanted to make sure when I met you and I was talking to you about what you do, that we share what you do with everyone. And this platform I thought was a great way to introduce you to some people in hopes that, they will gain some knowledge and connect with you for their students, for their children.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So tell the audience a little something about Tameka Williamson, other than you're a Southern University graduate.
Yes, go Jaguars. I am a proud HBCU alum of Southern University, engineer by trade. But the work I've been blessed to do is all about transforming lives, whether it's at a corporate level or here on the college side. And it's something that I enjoy doing. Being able to help families, educate them, empower them, and inform them on how to navigate the game of college admissions so that they can minimize the chance of incurring any type of debt to pay for college is really a game changer. And that's why it's so critical. And that's why it's something me and my team don't take lightly, because we understand the importance of what it means for a child and their future when they are able to graduate from college without debt. So that's what we do. That's our mission. And we're continuing to work hard at helping as many families as possible going forward.
Yes, that's awesome. I know, my children were blessed to have their dad was a veteran in the army, and so they were blessed to have military benefits when they went to college. And um, it's so expensive, like as you said, to graduate and you have 50, 60, 70,000, 80, $100,000 in debt, versus leaving college with no debt. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. So I applaud you in this work that you're doing. And it's, great, great, great work. So thank you. So tell us what led you to do what you're doing. What led you to that?
Shenita, I tell people I believe this is a God mission. It initially started with my book, and in my small mindedness, our vision for things and God's vision are always two different things.
Yes.
My goal was to publish a book that outlined how families can go to college, because I was a first generation student. I had to figure it out myself. And I wanted to define and give people a roadmap on how to do it, really tailoring it for first generation families so they didn't have to try to figure it out like I had to try to figure it out. So to make it easier for them. That was my initial goal. That's all I was planning to do, was to publish the book and just kind of keep moving on some other things. But of course, that was back in 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. But God had a different plan, and it evolved into more of the movement. And it brings us to where we're at today, now being able to convert it or expand it rather into a coaching service and a coaching platform where we've been able to facilitate workshops. And we've touched over 5,000 families when we think about all the workshops and seminars we've held. Mm-hmm. And then we have our small private group that we've been able to work with in terms of our clients. Mm-hmm. So it's really a God mission. Like I said, I'm an engineer by trade, but as an engineer, as a scientist, mm-hmm. my whole career has been around solving problems.
I love it.
It is really just another version of that, being solution oriented and solving a problem that's out there.
Wow. So you started out just really helping people to navigate successfully through first generation college students with the book that you authored.
Yes.
And you were an employee at the time.
At the time, yes, ma'am.
As an engineer.
At that time, I was not an engineer. I was in management. I had already progressed up the ranks, and I was in management at that time.
Okay, that is just an awesome, awesome story. And you're right. Our plans and God plans are so different. And so I'm so glad that you yielded to his plan, because you really could have stuck with your plan, right?
Oh, absolutely. I tell folks, hey, this is a God mission, because if it wasn't, I would have let it go a long time ago. I can make a whole lot more money on the corporate side than I can on the educational side.
I understand it. Yes. But go ahead.
No, but I'm in a place now, you go through these different cycles of life and you learn different things, you have different experiences. And what happens is your priorities change, your view on life changes, and it shapes what's most important to you. And so your thoughts today, well, they shouldn't be the same as what they were 2 or 3 years ago, because we should be growing and developing.
Yes.
And that's really what has happened. God has just shown me different things. So I'm at this place in life right now. It's all about living a life of significance. How do I leave a legacy that's like a gift that keeps giving? Yes. And when you think about this piece around education and helping families navigate the lay of the land so that their child can have the best outcome, that's a gift that keeps giving, because we can keep them out of years and years and years of debt. You think about the magnitude of debt students are graduating with this $1.6 trillion problem we have in this country. If nothing is done to address that problem, we have kids who are going to be in debt for the rest of their lives until they leave this earth, which means it's going to limit their buying power, their investment power, their saving power, and what they can do in terms of their everyday living.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is you. I mean, that just speaks volumes. You're right, because you get out of college and you're making $100,000, and your student loan is, say, you're a doctor. Your student loan maybe what, several hundred thousand?
Yeah, several hundred thousand, and so when you graduate with a several $100,000 student loan bill, it takes me back to the story of the dentist. When he first graduated from dental school, his loan, I think, was somewhere about $350,000, $400,000, but making the payments on it and the interest, although the interest is small, the impact is very, very minimal. So after, I forgot how many years it was, maybe about 7 years or so, that loan value increased to $1 million.
Woo.
And
So,
it's like $1 million. How do you pay that back?
and so attending college for free and your services are essential to making sure that our future students or your future clients don't have that as their story.
Yes, that is what our mission and that's what our goal is. So we
Right.
look at the totality of, what it takes based on what that end goal is. So we know you have to go to grad school, so we got to talk about the whole cycle. Now, here goes me as an engineer, professional project manager. We need to understand the entire life cycle of what's required to get you from point A to point B, what is required to make that happen. And we build strategies based on that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay, so let's go into the next question that was submitted. Were there specific websites that hold this grant/scholarship information that you provide to your clients or that parents can access? Is this information like free to the public?
Well, when you talk about the context of scholarships, there are tons of resources out there.
Mm-hmm.
What I've found is families are looking for the easy route and the easy road to getting that information,
Mm-hmm.
and it just don't exist. You have multiple tools you can utilize. You have the Scholarly app that you can download onto your phone. You have Twitter, who tweets scholarships all day. Organizations tweet scholarships all day, every day, 24/7. You have websites. We had FastWeb back in our day. FastWeb still exists, but there are other scholarship repositories. And what people don't realize is there's no one source that houses every scholarship that exists out there. So that means you have to go put in the work. But the other side of this, and I always try to explain to our families, because it's very important for us to make sure they understand what the system, what the process is, and what the game entails. So when you look at scholarships, there are multiple levels of scholarships. You have institutional scholarships, you have private third-party scholarships. You must pursue both pathways.
Mm-hmm.
You must pursue both pathways. But if you don't know to look at that, when we talk about scholarships, we only look at it from one standpoint, and that's the private scholarship side. But that's the side we don't put in the work to pursue neither, because I get it all the time. Looking for scholarships is another job. Yes, it is. You have to put in that sweat equity. So at the end of the day, how bad do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of it is you can't wait till the last minute to do it.
Right. That's true. I remember when I had my summer camp, we would actually have the kids do the PSAT practice, and they were middle school and high school students. And and we would have someone to come in and talk about college and scholarships. We took them on college tours, and you're right. The colleges, when they would do the college tours, would talk about what was available as related to institutional scholarships for them. And you're right, there's a lot of work, and we have to put the work in order to get any results.
Yep.
You may put in more work than the results, getting the results, but you could very well get all of the results. Have you seen some of your clients net all of the work that they put in, the scholarships, from all of the resources that they applied to?
Oh no, I mean, you're not going to get all the scholarships.
Okay.
I mean, you're playing with the law of numbers.
Mhm.
You got a law of numbers. But the thing is, if you don't get in the game, you never have a chance to win.
Absolutely.
So, one, you have to get in the game. You have to participate.
Mm-hmm.
2, you have to start the process early enough, meaning you cannot wait till your child hit 12th grade year to start thinking about looking for and applying for scholarships. I'm not saying it's impossible, because nothing is impossible with God, but let's talk about probability. The chance of you getting anything over $5,000 or $10,000 within the last year of your child's high school is not that probable. Thirdly, you have to make sure you've put in the work to position yourself to be fundable. That is a term I use with my clients. How fundable is your profile? So that goes back to, how have they built their leadership profile? What does their social media profile say about them? What does their academic profile say about them? So they have to understand, what type of student are schools funding? What type of student are third-party scholarship organizations funding? Everybody likes to talk about the Gates Millennial Scholarship. All right, yes, Gates Millennial Scholarship, prime example. Do you know what kind of scholarship it is? Do you know what kind of student they fund? How does your profile align with the type of student, the profile they're looking for? If there's no alignment, you will have zero chance at getting that money. So it's kind of like, I call it the rules of engagement. So this kind of goes back to my sports days, playing sports. How can I play basketball and master the game, and our team work together to work towards a championship, if we don't understand what's required to get that championship? Same thing applies here. How can you apply for a scholarship if you don't understand what's required and what's needed to even qualify to get a scholarship?
And so your company will sit down with parent and child and discuss the total vision or goals for that student, and start working as early as when?
We work with families from K through 12.
Okay.
K through 12. And I want to put some emphasis on that, K through 12, meaning we don't work with families. We don't work with students once they already enter college, because see, this goes back to understanding how the money flows and how funding occurs. The funding is different when you're in high school than it is when you become a college student. So it shifts, it's more difficult, and the expectations are different. So we work with students before they leave high school.
Wow. And when you say K, we are talking kindergarten.
We are talking kindergarten. Yes, we do have a program for students. We have a K through 6 program. So basically we have K through 6, K through 7, and then 8th through 12th grade. Because what they're gonna do for K through 7 is very different than what the focus will be from 8 through 12. Now, there are still some differences that exist between that 8 through 12 pathway, but the focus is still the same. But it's all in understanding the game of college and when you need to start that process.
Okay. And so I actually listed your information, your website there, your Facebook page there, so that parents can connect with you and get involved and find out when services, I guess, or programs are offered, or seminars, or how to get involved with your business. I like the idea of starting as a kindergartner through high school, and then you have the college component. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So at what point do you think, and it says, good for parents and students to seriously start talking and planning for college, and we just kind of talked about that as early as kindergarten. What are some things that you recommend they do other than meet with you? What are some things or some tips that you could say to a parent that may be watching right now they should be doing?
One thing, I mean, there's several things, but I'm going to start with this. Parents, you must be an active participant in this process, meaning you must own it. I've talked to countless parents who rely on the school and the school only and the school counselor to get their child college and career ready. And there's a misnomer that is their responsibility.
Mhm.
And I want to dispel that myth right there. It is not the school's job, and it's actually not the school's counselor's job, the school counselor's job to get your child college and career ready. They are only a piece of the puzzle. They are there to assist from the academic standpoint, but the ownership really comes back to you, parent, at the end of the day. Because when you start looking at the stats, and I was just sharing this with a parent the other day, because I sit on the post-secondary board here in Atlanta, and when you start looking at across the board, the counselor ratio to student, it's about 350, 450 students to one counselor. And we have a stat that breaks it down into minutes in terms of the entire school year. And it's somewhere around, it equates to about 30, 35 minutes a school year per student. How much can you get done in 30 or 35 minutes for an entire school year?
Mm-hmm.
So parents have to get educated on the process so they can take ownership and help steer their child in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things I want to tell parents. We got to shift the paradigm, because the ways our kids are getting educated now is very different than what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. You have to take ownership now, because if you don't, your child's going to be left behind. So you have to get informed and understand what's required for them academically, what's required for them to be prepared post-secondary, and what do they need to do socially and emotionally, because we have all these aspects that feeds into building that total child, because that's what's going to show up at the end of the day when it comes to whether or not they're fundable from a college perspective and from a scholarship perspective. So that's probably the biggest message I would give, because if they accomplish that, then everything else will fall in line, because now they'll be more open and they'll be more informed on, okay, how important is test prep? Now, granted, we know the whole test conversation is on the rocks right now, but still, I now know I need to start looking at getting them prepared, because that's a process. Getting them prepared as early as third and fourth grade. What type of books should they be reading? How do they write? Maybe I need to work on cultivating their writing skills. Maybe I need to challenge their reading. I need to get them to start speaking more, because we got these devices. Our kids have now lost the art of how to communicate effectively.
Absolutely.
So now, when they graduate, they don't even have the basic social and emotional skills necessary for them to function effectively in a college environment, which translates into their ability to function in a work environment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all of it is connected.
It is so connected. I love the fact that you said that parents have to own it. It has to be a decision that the parents make. And you're right, they have to be educated in understanding how that works with the schools and the counselors. And yeah, some kids may get in there and get a little more time, but as you broke it down, statistically, that's a very little time So they have to be involved in this process. So do you host workshops specifically educating parents?
Yes, we haven't done it as much since COVID. We've done workshops in the past, and we've had some virtually. But right now, we kind of put a lot of those virtual sessions on hold. We've done some little intermittent things here and there, and that's something we'll look to pick back up. With COVID happening, we ended up shifting a lot of our focus just to deal with our clients right now because of the constant changes. It was important for us to make sure our seniors were okay and they transitioned into college these last 30 days or so, and we're still like kind of just checking in and following up to make sure they're okay, because there's still some adjustments. Some are doing virtual, some are doing hybrid learning. So just it was important for us to focus on them. And then our seniors in high school now, just helping them navigate the constant changes and understanding test optional versus test blind and what that means and what schools should we be targeting and pushing them. So our focus has shifted for us to prioritize our clients at this moment so that we can make sure they are on the right path as well.
Mm-hmm. And when you say test blind, and did you say test target?
Test blind, test optional.
Optional. Can you explain what that means? Is that something you're able to share? That's new. I've never heard those terms before.
Yeah. So what's going on right now? When you start looking at when COVID happened, we started having the issues with ACT and SAT. You heard all the horror stories of people getting to test centers the day of, and they got a sign on the door, the test is canceled. People traveling 4 hours, 16 hours, 12 hours, and to try to get their child a test on file, and the test centers are closed down. With COVID happening and the inability for students to get a test on file, really the seniors is where it's been very critical. It has now forced schools to make decisions around whether or not they will require ACT or SAT for admissions. Because we know prior to COVID, you had to have a test on file in order to get accepted. Now, there's been a movement for a while. If you go to Fair Test, I think it's fairtest.org. It's been a movement for a while where there were colleges who made the decision way before COVID even was thought of to look at the student in terms of the totality of their profile. So the test was not a requirement for admissions or for funding. Well, now there are schools being forced to take that position, but there are some who still have not taken that position. So when we talk about test optional means that it's an option for you to submit an ACT and SAT for admissions. But, and I'm gonna put a huge but here. What people don't realize is there are students, and this is what I told my seniors this. I said, you may be getting excited, and I told my parents this. When you hear test optional, kids are getting excited like, yes, I don't have to worry about the ACT, SAT. And I'm like, let me help you understand what that means. What's required for admissions is not always the same for funding. There are two different qualifiers, two different pathways, two different entities within a university. So two different decisions are being made. Because you can get admitted. Just because you get admitted doesn't mean you get funding. So in test optional, you have a combination of things happening. Some schools are waiving ACT and SAT requirements to get admitted, but you need an ACT or SAT on file in order to qualify for merit-based funding. So if these students aren't able to get a test on file, what does that mean? They can get admitted, but they're not going to qualify for any of the serious merit-based funding. So how are they going to pay for college? Because most families, let's keep it real, they're not sitting on $10, $15, $20,000 a year to pay for their child's tuition. But there are other schools who are waiving the ACT, SAT for admissions as well as for the merit-based funding. But I tell folks they still have to have a qualifier. The schools have to have a way to differentiate how they're going to pick students. So what we're seeing is schools adding additional requirements. Some schools are asking for AP tests. How many students take AP classes and how many students take AP tests?
Right. Not a lot.
Since we can't get the ACT, SAT, we want you to submit your AP or your IB test, and we'll use that as part of the requirements. And then I've seen schools. I posted this last week. One of my parents from last year, she posted, okay, now they asking for too goddamn on much. Now she ain't got to worry about it because her baby started college this fall, and she's good. But we're even seeing schools asking for students to submit essays that's been graded by their English teacher. So when I tell you the requirements right now are all over the board because of the ACT, SAT, you it's not a one size fit all. You literally have to really look at every school individually. Now, test blind means they're not even taking the test in consideration, and you don't even submit the score at all. It's not considered. It's not even part of the evaluative process. So you have to literally look at where the school falls. Some schools are even changing midstream because I've seen some schools, because of the pressure, because there are entities tracking this and putting schools on blast. And some of the decisions aren't even made at the school level. I posted something, I think last week, where the Board of Regents for the state of Florida says they are not waiving test requirements for any of their schools. So when it's all over the board. So some schools, some students this year are going to be limited in the schools that they can apply to. So some schools that were originally on their list, they may not be able to apply to them because they don't have a test score on file.
Wow. So it is important for them to call college prep boss and schedule an appointment with you so that you can really walk them, you and your team can walk them through the journey of getting prepared to attend college for free.
Yes, we will be opening up this year's cohort here in a matter of a few weeks. But once the cohort closed, you won't be able to, we won't take any more students in until next year.
And so how many do you allow in your session?
We have not finalized the number. We actually have we got a team call tomorrow. So we're still going back and forth on what that number is going to be for this year's cohort. So don't know. It's going to be a limited number because we got to take into consideration how many we already have going through the program and mapping out what we're going to, making sure we can manage what we bring in this year.
And I know when I had my Saturday Academy, I had 20, no more than 20 students. So I get it when you say, there's a limit, because you want to be able to manage those students and give them what they need effectively. And can you explain to the parents, what does that cohort look like? What does that investment of time look like for them and their child?
Yeah, so one of the changes we made this year, we've expanded the program from 12 months to 18 months. So it's going to be an 18-month program. And our program is all encompassing. So we deal with essay writing, we deal with scholarships, we deal with test prep, and of course the coaching and the strategy side, mapping that out for them. So it's really a one-stop shop, everything you need to know and do as it relates to going to college. We deal with all of it. But it is a program where we are coaching them along the way. We'll have sessions, group sessions and individual sessions, but the family must be willing to do the work. So we evaluate, we have a vetting process in the beginning. So just because you come and say, hey, I want to sign up for the program, doesn't mean that you're going to make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain qualifiers and things we look for, because at the end of the day, our goal is all about results.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not willing to do the work, we are not a company who will do the work for you. We believe in the code of ethics of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to have any varsity blues situations going on in here. It's just not going to happen.
I love it.
Do anything illegal. We're not doing anything unethical.
I love it.
So if the
I know
we can't work with them.
Right. And I get it, acceptance into the program. Not everyone would be accepted. You can apply, but you may not be accepted.
Yeah.
We actually did a panel interviews for my academy when we had the Saturday Academy. So you needed to be prepared and understand the requirements. So that's really good. So an 18-month program. And each year you kind of walk with the previous students that have been a part of your program. So you have new students and you have previous students and then alumni at some point and so on.
Yes.
That's awesome. What are some other tips you have for students and parents, parents of students, K through 12 and beyond, who want to attend college or further their college career, whether it's at a junior college or a four-year institutional college? What are some additional tips that you can share with parents out there?
Okay, so one thing I would say is start early. And I'm going to define early because I've learned that that is a moving number.
Everybody thinks of it differently.
Yes. So people always ask, how early is too early to start? There's no such thing as too early to start, but there is such thing as too late to start. Mm-hmm. So waiting until your child becomes a junior and senior, that is very, 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 very late in the process. Mm-hmm. Now, what I will say to that is, because I don't want people to feel like, well, dang, it's late, I can't do anything. No, it's like I learned better. Now that I know better, I do better. Start where you are, because there's still things you can do. But for those of you who have the time where your child is not a junior and senior yet, start now. Because at the end of the day, colleges look at and make decisions based on what your child has done from grade 9th grade to 11th grade. Hear me, 9th to 11th grade. So that's why I said senior year is late. They look at what you do, what your child has done from 9th grade to 11th grade. So it's easier to plan for what you need to do than it is to make lemonade out of lemons.
Mm-hmm. So do they look at academic when you say start early? Do you just mean academically applying or community service, or what areas should they really be thinking about? Because a lot of times kids are they're not involved. They're just not involved in enough activities outside of school, even in school. So
everything is beyond academics. So colleges and scholarship organizations, they are looking for students who demonstrate strong leadership skills. Mm-hmm. They're looking at what I like to call a 360-degree student. So where is your child at? We call it the 4 pillars of admission: leadership, academics, community service, test scores. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So where my camera at? 4 pillars of leadership: academics, community service, test scores. Those are the 4 buckets you must be able to check off and to make sure your child is a 360-degree student, building a fundable brand for them to get admitted, for them to get funded, and for them to get noticed.
Mm-hmm. And
But
that
you have to start early.
And that community service, I know the Stewart Foundation with Hank Stewart, I know Madison has been involved in that program, limited, but I'm starting to get her involved. She's 9 years old, and the community service piece, we did a community service project with them. And so there are other organizations out there as well that parents can get their children involved in. I know, sometimes the kids don't want to do this or that, but as a parent, and we've been giving the responsibility as a parent to guide them through this journey called life.
Yes.
And so we sometimes have to not be their friends, but be their parents who understand the bigger picture. I used to say to my children when they were young that I know that you don't like me, and that's okay. Eventually, as you grow older, you will understand why I did or said what I did. But right now, I'm your parent. So I'm not here to quote unquote be your friend. You have a bunch of them out there. So
And they
I'll
will thank you. They will thank you later. So that's tip number 2.
Right.
Be the parent, not the friend.
Right.
There's been many of times, I remember when I would be at our college expos and parents would come up and they ask these questions, and it's like they ask the child, so, okay, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there like, well, who's the parent and who's the child? Because your job is to guide them. If you leave it up to the child, they're going to take the path of least resistance, and they're going to take the path that's the easiest pathway possible for them. Mm-hmm. And easy is not going to get you where you need results.
To go. Exactly. And I believe in giving options, but the parent should determine the options and the parameters around that.
Yes.
And give them the option, but you have already thought it through. And so that's one of the things I try to teach in my parenting classes is you come up with those options and you know what they are and you give it to them so they think they really are making a choice, but you really have put the boundaries there. Absolutely. So, we have to make sure parents really get that piece. And then I want you, because I know that kudos to you and your team. You guys have done some amazing things. I've watched your journey virtually. I've seen some of the accomplishments you've made. I've seen some of the interviews you've gone on. You've done some amazing, 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 amazing work with students. So would you share a few success stories with your students and with the organization? Because I think it's important for people to know who they're talking to.
So sure. Yeah, no, I have to get better at this whole bragging piece.
No, you have to.
So we have helped families garner over $40 million over the course of many years. And just this last cohort, and actually, I think this is probably our highest earner. Yeah, she was our highest earner overall. So one of our seniors, Scholar Kara, she's actually at Howard. Awesome. And she's a future doctor. She's going to be a future doctor. She got over $2 million in scholarships this past year. So she had plenty of options from Johns Hopkins to Washington University, St. Louis. I mean, just a host of schools.
Wow.
She chose an HBCU.
I know you were happy about that.
Yes, she's at Howard. Everything 100% covered. Everything. I love everything. She's a STEM scholar. So she got over $2 million in funding, and she still had money offers coming in even after she made her decision. So we've had several doctors. So we have we have 3 scholars at Howard this year. We got Hampton. We go all the way back to UPenn, UCLA. So our scholars have gotten acceptance all across the board and have attended schools at every gamut as well. Let me see, because I think our top 3 scholars this past go around, they had a total of about about 4 million just between the three of them.
Wow.
As a whole, and I think the class as a whole was probably about 13 million, about 13 or 14 million this last group. So
wow, that's amazing.
So no, they put in the work, but those who really work the process, they really put in the work. So you have to work the process.
Right.
We don't create any magic. We don't have any magic tricks or anything like that. It's just proven strategies, proven processes, and they followed the guidance, they put in the work, and they got the results.
I love it. That's just anything,
anything. And the parents were engaged. I mean, they was like, I just can't believe the outcome of where we're at versus when we first started. And then they realized, hey, this is a lot of work. I don't know how we would have figured this out. So it's a lot that goes into it. I tell people there's so many moving pieces. And if you don't know how to navigate it and what to do and when to do it, then you're going to get lost in the process. Because it is literally a game. I say we're playing chess, not checkers. You got to understand strategy and how to navigate the whole process.
So the investment on the front end was worth the return on the back end.
Oh yeah, they got their money back and then some.
Right. I would say so.
Yes,
I would say so. So that's that. I mean, that's awesome. And then for you, the organization recognition, can you share a few highlights? Because you guys have been recognized, right?
Yeah. So I think the last recognition was I was selected as one of Sasha the Diva's Diva Diamonds. So that was an honor to get that recognition by Sasha the Diva and do an interview with her as well. We got we were able to trademark College for Free as well. So we're looking to do some additional exciting things around that. And we're working on some additional trademark content.
Protect your brand.
Yes, protect your brand. Protect your stuff.
Protect your stuff. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, and we've had some other radio interviews. I know we did an interview with a radio station up in Michigan, and somebody else I can't remember.
Right. But you're doing some great work, and the recognition is there. The results are there. I'm sure the parents are just tickled pink, that they made a decision to work with you. I know you wanted me to share with the audience the resource on scholarships. So I'm going to share that free scholarship ebook.
Yeah, please, because people don't apply for scholarships, or that's probably one of the most popular questions. How do we find scholarships? Where do we go? What do we do? So we created this ebook. But again, start looking for scholarships early. There are scholarships available as early as kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So start applying for scholarships. You have to start applying, and you have to keep working at it.
So when a parent calls you, because I provided your information, do you do a consultation with them and you sit down and kind of talk about, here's our picture, and then you take that information and you kind of do an assessment and get back with them on this is what we think it will take, or how does that work?
So what we normally do is we do what is called a discovery call. And with the discovery call, we ask a series of questions, and we have some discussion around what they've done, what they're looking to accomplish, understand their pain points. And based on that context, we're able to recommend the program that's best for them. Most people go into our flagship coaching program, which is the 8th through 12th grade program, because rarely do people start the process early. Mm-hmm. So we get more people on the latter end. Most of our clients are referred to us by previous clients. And based on that and our assessment of where they're at, we look at if it's a fit on our end. They get to make the decision if we are a fit, because we're not always a fit for everybody. And then from there, it's a matter of, hey, are they willing to not only put in the work, but are they willing to make the investment? Our program is not free, but it requires an investment of finances, and it also requires an investment of time for the whole family.
I love it. I just think it's definitely worth every parent out there who sees their child as a college student to contact you for that discovery conversation. And don't count it out. Don't discount it, parents, until you have taken the necessary steps to inquire or talk with Ms. Williamson and her team to see what the offerings are. And as she said, if you're a good fit and if they're a good fit for you. So I'm hoping that they will reach out to you as you take clients from all over the country, not just Georgia.
We have clients all over the world. So last year we had 2 clients. One was in Japan, the other one was in Saudi Arabia.
Awesome.
Their kids were U.S. or they were U.S. citizens. They were just stationed there. So we have clients all over the world. We do have payment plans. We've always tried to make our program affordable. We still are less. Our program is still less than what the standard cost is in the industry. I tell people that all the time. It may appear unaffordable to you. It's just a matter of how you look at it. It's a matter of your perspective and what you're willing to invest in.
Right. Awesome. Well, I am so excited and I'm so honored to have you here tonight to share your journey, and hopes that all those who desire for their children to attend college for free are willing to, at least, as I said earlier, have the conversation with you and do the work if they make the decision to get their children involved in this program, which I highly recommend them to explore. So I thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for the honor of just being present. And thank you for what you do for our future leaders, what you will continue to do, what you've done. And I wish you much success on your continued journey.
I appreciate it. And same to you. Keep getting the word out about everything that you're doing, because you are tackling so many different angles of topics that's really relevant and important and critical, especially in today's time. So, continue to do what you're doing. We have to give voice to that vision that God is giving you, because that information is needed and is meant to be shared.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you. And to the college prep boss, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too, Miss Shenita.
Thank you. And SU.
Yes.
Jaguar.
Now we're not going to have no football season this year, but go Jaguars.
That's right. I know my brothers are having a fit about that because they love a tailgate.
Yes, the best band in the land. I don't care what nobody says.
Nobody says. I love it.
Is the best band.
Yes, they are. Yes. The Human Jukebox. Southern University, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Absolutely, down in the bayou. Absolutely.
Yes. I want to go so bad next week because we're out of school for the entire week. I'm trying to figure it out. But yes, so.
Yeah, you don't want to go right now. They are still feeling the impact of what was the one that just passed? Not Sally, which is
the one prior.
The one prior to that, because it hit the Lake Charles area. So the domino effect is still impacting.
It's still lingering.
It's still lingering and impacting Baton Rouge.
I just want to just go and just be in my brother's house and but I probably won't, but that's just what I want to do. But I will get there.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I've talked to. I'm gonna have to sit and wait a little bit before I come back and visit. Let everything pass.
Yes, I feel you. But thank you so much again, and you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you. You do the same.
Take care.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was a great conversation with Miss Tameka Williamson. College free journey, how to accomplish that. You guys will want to reach out to her. Her website is www.collegeprepboss.com. She also has a Facebook page, www.facebook.com/college4free. So reach out to her, parents, and have the conversation. If you desire for your children or they desire for themselves to attend college, let's be really serious about this investment of time and our financial resources to set them up and yourself up for this journey to attend college for free. So I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I love to share resources. As I said earlier, I think it's important. We can't hoard information and resources. We have to share them. So when I met Ms. Williamson, I knew that I wanted to share the work that she does because it's very important. And so I understand the importance of the investment of time to plan for college, and not only college, but to attend college for free. So, and as you all know, as I oftentimes say, Life with Shenita LLC goal is to help people overcome life's challenges and to encourage them to live a vibrant life. And that latter part, live a vibrant life, if you were able to attend college for free, you certainly would be able to live a vibrant life. We know that for sure. So this resource is one to assist those who are indeed interested. Also, as you guys know, I do have actually two books, Is Your House in Order and Abiding Love. If you are interested, as always, in those books, you can purchase them from me or through Amazon. As we say each week, thank you for joining us. This show, and you can also find us on the podcast by joining us here on Facebook each Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, you can listen to the show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. On your family station called famradiostation.com on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So if you miss us on Thursdays, please listen in on Wednesdays. And we thank you for your continued support. Remember that I love you, but God loves you most, and He loves you best. And we look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. Next Thursday's topic will be Destiny with the Diva, Piera Collins. We will have a conversation with her about destiny, and she is a true diva. She is one that I look forward to you guys hearing her story. So with that being said, I wish that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all next week.
We're at the midst of the storm. You can see how I can looking optimistic of a brighter day. Tomorrow will rain. Be optimistic. You hear the voice of reason.